right. So I moved over to the States from Australia 5 years ago. Actually, it was my 5-year anniversary just last month. Thank you. 5 full years here and still haven't worked out tipping. Last month, this is a true story, I tipped 20% of my groceries bill to the cashier that swiped them. That is not what you're meant to do. She looked at me like I was probably a sexual predator, trying to buy her love. Sex was great, though, so... 5 years here, and I've been doing a lot of traveling, trying to make the most of my time. So earlier in the year, I went to Los Angeles. Who's been to Los Angeles here? Yeah, a few people. It's fine, but when I was there, Disneyland was closed for maintenance. I was like, Disneyland is closed for maintenance? That's like the only reason people go to LA. It's like going to New Orleans and finding out the jazz bars are closed. Or going to Atlanta and finding out all the connecting flights have been cancelled. Yeah, I know. Apologies to anyone from Atlanta here. I'm sure it's a great place. On that same trip, I went to Vegas. Flew into Vegas actually to get a bus to go on a hike in Utah, so not really the Vegas story anyone wants to hear tonight. But when you get off the flight at Vegas, at the airport, the first thing you see when you come off is these slot machines. Anyone know what I'm talking about? There's these slot machines there, and they have this sign on them. It's government mandated. It says, think about your family, think about your choices. Because they're trying to discourage people from problem gambling. But I'm thinking, is this really the best way to discourage people from problem gambling? I mean, like, surely for a lot of these people, it's their family and their choices that have driven them to be there in the first place. It's like, what are the odds of winning the jackpot? Maybe the same odds as that person having a healthy relationship with their father. Yeah. So I went on this hike in Utah, and that was my first experience with Mormonism. And I really do think, this is my first reflection, that Mormonism really is the only kind of a religion that only really Americans could roll with. Hear me out with this. So you got this beautiful Jewish faith that starts in the Middle East, and out of it evolves this Christian tradition that is like adopted by the Romans and spread worldwide to great popularity. And then 1,800 years later, some East Coaster named Smith is like, Jesus came here too? Come on, America. Is it always all about you? And he brought plates. What is with this obsession with cookware? So because I was doing all this traveling, I started using my iPhone as an alarm clock. And now I get minor convulsions anytime I hear the sound of ducks quacking. Are there any iPhone users here in the house that know what I'm talking about? The default sounds? Yeah, I'll be in like Central Park, sitting on the bench, napping, and it's like, whoa, I'm up, I'm awake. But I really do think phones are so intertwined in our lives these days, it's almost like we have an emotional connection to them. So like, for example, every time I call home, I use WhatsApp, and it asks me to rate the quality of the call, and I'm so invested, I think the little machine is just trying to check in on how good a conversation it was. It's like, pep talk from mum, 5 stars. Thanks for asking, Siri. Actually, this is kind of embarrassing, but the other day I accidentally called Siri Alexa. Yeah. And she shut down my phone. Don't do that. I switch it back on, and now my Apple Music subscription only lets me play songs by Dave Matthews Band. Yeah, now I live in a frat house. It's really weird. That's right. If you listen to Dave Matthews Bands, you've probably lived in a frat house. I have a pie chart to prove that one. So I'm going to leave you with one more story before I head off. It's about a phone call I had with my bank the other day. I lost my credit card, and so my bank called me, and I didn't expect it to be such an affirming experience. They call me up and they ask me all these security questions to find out whether I really am who I say I am. They're like, "What street did you grow up on? Who is your primary school teacher?" I'm like, I got this. I'm the real deal. Try and stump me, JP Morgan. Then they're like, "What does your mother want for Christmas?" Fuck. Did I write that? But seriously, do these questions even work? So I heard years ago that Paris Hilton, I know none of you have thought of Paris Hilton in at least a decade, but Paris Hilton She got her phone hacked by a bunch of people that broke into T-Mobile customer records, found her phone number, and then they knew the answer to her security question, what is your pet's name? Tinkerbell. I even knew that from the tabloids. But I love this because in my mind, I'm drawing the Venn diagram of people that know how to hack the mainframe and people that read Us Weekly. And there's a small but important sliver right in the middle that brought down America's favorite hotel family. All right, thanks, folks. You've been great.